والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. We begin in the name of Allah, the exalted, the sublime, the most merciful, and the one who bestows all mercy, the all knowledgeable, the all compassionate. And we ask Him to send His timeless, choicest, most abundant peace, blessings, and mercy upon our dear beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his wives and his family members and his companions, and all those who follow their example till the day of judgment, praying that He includes us amongst them. Allahumma ameen. Welcome back. Alhamdulillah, we've had a couple of different topics. The topic of marriage, being a spouse, being a family, being a father, being a mother, being a child, being a parent, it's a lot more than deen. Deen is the most significant factor. Religious components, spiritual components are the most important, but it's not all that. There's tons of other components, and it's a big challenge. It's one of the biggest challenges of life, the biggest tests of life, and one of the most significant decisions of life. So you're going to need all that you can use. You're going to need all the equipment, all the utility, all the skills, all the different angles. You're going to have to filter through a lot of it. Not all of it is 100% true or useful, but you're going to have to consume all of it, from a social aspect, from a psychology aspect, from a biology aspect, from a deen aspect, of course. From so many different angles, you'll find different things, culture. And that's why our main motto, or let's say logo, it's not a logo, our motto was what? What do we keep repeating over and over? You can hear it more and more. Leave your baggage at the door. So what do you do once you leave your baggage at the door? You refill all those slots with the correct knowledge. Right, you filtered your culture. You said, okay, this doesn't make any sense. This is against Islam. This is haram. This is harmful. This doesn't fit anymore. This is outdated. I can remove it. But then I won't. The baggage that people, when they do this wrong, is they throw out the whole culture. Or they'll go to war against it. They'll purposely choose things that clash with the culture. Say, this isn't Islam. I don't have to abide by it. Islamically, that's 100% wrong, and it could be sinful all the time. So that's part of the people's baggage. That's part of their own experiences. They had a negative experience with an individual, or they witnessed someone weaponizing the deen, using religious material, scripture, to weaponize against someone else. So instead of turning their animosity or their scrutiny against that person, they turn against the religious scripture. Now this, I'm an opponent of this understanding and this belief and this, everyone who supports this, as opposed to maybe the person who weaponized it, they were the ones who were wrong or a psycho or whatever. Or mistaken, simply mistaken. Doesn't always have to be. They don't have to be Iblis himself. So that's what we mean when we say leave the baggage at the door. People ask me, you keep saying that, what does it even mean? Do you think you just like how it sounds? No. Well, yes, but that's not why I keep saying it. That's what it actually means. Not ignore negative experiences, not ignore false input from these different sources, but to analyze it and deal with it accordingly through the lenses that we are discussing together. So, with that being said, do we have a Slido for today, just so people can populate it with questions, comments, concerns, curse words, whatever they like? No curse words, please. One 1311189. 1311189. 1189. 1311189. 1311189. Somebody asks one more time. Just because you said please. 131. I have a system here. Hold up. Don't confuse me. I was doing good. So I can do this. I went to college. 1311189. There's 3 ones in the middle. That's all, guys. Can you, if you have trouble, we'll regenerate it. Since it seems to be an issue. So the Prophet ﷺ told us that a righteous woman is the best that this dunya has to offer. He said this dunya is full of enjoyment, and the best one is a righteous wife. If you find the right spouse, specifically, he's telling the men here, obviously, if you find the right wife, you have found the best of what this world has to offer of enjoyments and things that you should spend your time on. In fact, other enjoyments are often chalked up to be frivolous pursuits, things that are a waste of your time, things that are not befitting of your stature or the blessings Allah gave you. While this is. So it's something that you should put a lot of time and effort into, just like we were saying for the sisters. And like we were saying for the sisters as well, or the brothers as well last time, Since this is more geared towards you, what will this side be doing? What are you going to do with these activities? As when we did with the brothers, choosing the right husband, what did they end up doing with these qualities? Or these discussions? Yeah. So you're seeing what to strive for. You're getting to know what the other side is looking for. You're getting to know a little bit, at least in this locale. And you're gaining insight, right? This is very useful insight for people to use in their own journeys. You're gonna see and hear a lot of things that you don't agree with. That's okay. It's part of the real world and it's part of marriage. So feel free to share your insight or your feedback in the Slido or live in person. So when it comes to choosing the right wife, what are the traits that are ideal to look for, that our deen tells us to look for? Traits of the ideal wife. So because of these, even though we're not doing ideals now, we did ideal a few weeks ago, but these are the traits that we'll still end up using as categories to judge. Hold up, so just deen for now. Anything else? Let's do one at a time. So deen, right? Deen is always number one. Yes, Ziyad. Family? In what sense? Okay, lineage. That's not the ideal. That's what people look for. The hadith didn't say those are the ideal. The ideal is the deen. That's what just people look for. So deen is one. Anything else? Beauty is not an ideal trait. It is an ideal trait, but it's not what we were told to look for. I'm saying what were the categories of traits we're supposed to look for in a wife? Deen is one. He said people in general, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said people in general, they look for beauty, lineage, wealth, and deen, and his recommendation is choose deen. So we got from the hadith that deen is the one that is sought. What else is to be sought? Character. Okay, what specifics of character? Kindness, nurturing. Right, he said, تزوج الولود الودود. So wud is affection, nurturing. That could be all we found in that word. Anything else? Yeah. Maturity. So that is things that people would look for, but we're using the scripture, right? We're saying, what did the Quran and Sunnah tell us to look for? Maturity is not necessarily mentioned there. Not that there's anything wrong with it. So bearing children. And then we put an asterisk on that one, because it's not a defining character of somebody whether they can have children or not. It is not a defining character of somebody whether they can have children or not. But he did say, have a lot of children. So I can do what? So I can brag about you on the Day of Judgment. With what? What does he want to brag? The number of his ummah of believers. These are the ones who believed in me. So it's all contingent upon that. If someone's going to have 15 kids and none of them are any reason for the Prophet to be proud of on the Day of Judgment, they didn't follow this hadith, right? So that's one thing. The first thing is the worth. The second thing is it's contingent upon that and provision. So many other situations, which is why we've seen in our deen, there is text on both sides, meaning have plenty of children, something the Prophet wants to be proud of. At the same time, things discouraging that if you're not going to do it right. So likewise, when it comes to judging a woman by it, and it's not something as common now where people plan to have, several children beyond, well, that's, I guess, something that you guys will discuss. But what is the norm for having children? Average people, you could say, 2, 3, 4. Depends what your culture is, where you're from. But if somebody wants to go further than that, that's usually not the norm, right? So is it something that people still look for? Sure. Is it as major as it was back then? I don't think so. But it's there. But it has an asterisk. What else? So we have childbearing, nurturing, and deen. Anything else? So that's deen, right? So the ayah in Surah Al-Tahrim highlights all these qualities are all deen qualities. Repentance, standing devoutly in front of Allah, fasting, basically deen, right? So far we have deen, nurturing, care, affection. And what was the third one? Oh, childbearing or having plenty of children with an asterisk. Anything else? Yes. So trustworthiness, right? That's something that's mentioned in the hadith, that when the man's in his absence, he doesn't have anything to worry about. He doesn't have to think twice because he trusts her. She's trustworthy. And the last one, everyone's favorite, yeah? What was my question? I don't know at this point. Oh, hayat, modesty, for sure. So that is, yeah, it's mentioned in the Quran. So hayat is kind of put into trustworthiness as a category. But yeah, it's definitely a characteristic. There's one more, everyone's favorite. Yes, obedience. Yeah, thank you. There you go. Everybody's skirting around it. We discussed it. We'll continue to discuss it further. Feel free to ask all your questions. I'll answer some of them. So these are the qualities that are highlighted in our deen. Doesn't mean they're the only qualities. It doesn't mean that they're all or nothing. There's a spectrum, just like when we saw the characteristics of the man. Remember the characteristics of the man? So we had physical strength, we had deen, of course, first. Trustworthiness was there. Financial capability was there. Financial capability is not here. Finances are not in the picture here because should the Muslim man look for it? No. The answer is simply no. He should no concern about the finances in our scripture. But does that mean, asking about finances off the table or it's not a discussion you're going to have? No. Really depends on you guys. This is just what our deen teaches us to look for, and these are the characteristics that we listed looking at the ayat and the hadith in general that are the ideal traits. There's a lot more as we're going to see. So, with that being said, where are we going next? What are we doing? Okay. What do men look for? The journey of life can be likened to a flight. This is my own metaphor, so feel free to judge it, laugh at it, joke's on you, it doesn't matter. For that flight, men usually look for one of four roles. And these are the four. What do you guys think? Anyone want to guess the roles and their description? This is my own metaphor from my own experience as a man and speaking to other men. This is how I break it down. Feel free to laugh at it. Feel free to chew it out and spit it back out, or chew it, spit it back out, tear it apart. I don't care. Go ahead, Ahmed. Okay. And what does that mean? It's not what I told the AI, but okay. Keep going. Why did you say early 20s before late teens? Threw me off. But anyway, sorry. Okay. She's a career woman that spent her youth becoming a pilot. Any other thoughts before I comment? Yeah, Mohammad. Co-pilot, which means the regional pilot. What, you Dunder Mifflin on us? Like, what's going on here? Any other thoughts? Co-pilot will be on the right. It's a British plane. Any other thoughts? So far we have a career-driven woman, a co-pilot, and then to the regional pilot, and then 50-50. Meaning what, like 50-50 in life? Any other takes? Tiffany? No, all four of them, actually. I don't know why everyone's choosing other. Just looks? So she's a pretty pilot? Is that what you're saying? I mean, okay, whatever. Who am I to judge? Yeah. This is your takes, everyone. I'm not judging anybody. It's no right or wrong. Well, there is a right or wrong, but... Okay. It's a metaphor, guys, so it's like, what's it representing? That's what she's doing, sure, but what is the role? So these are four different roles. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Yusuf, you just walked in, but sure, this is always exciting. Go for it. Everyone be quiet. I want to hear this. I know what a suitcase is. I told you it's going to be good. Go ahead, Yusuf. Be quiet, everybody. I know, you're doing a good job. I was not disappointed. No, I get it. Doesn't stop it from being funny. Yeah. And then what's the fourth one? Fitting neatly in the back of the trunk? The last picture, the luggage. Oh, okay. Any other takes before we move on? Go ahead, Mab. Which top one? Second one, stewardess? Okay, these are 4 different roles that men are looking for. They're not one role. Any other takes before we move on? So, yeah, go ahead, here, please. That's true, I did do that. No, that's not true. There's a lot of things I have no plan for, but this is not one of them. I had a plan. And Yusuf was right. Everyone's laughing at him. Yusuf's a man. So these are men look for 4 roles. In my experience, counseling them, living with them, and being one for my life, all of it. They're gonna look for the co-pilot. What is the co-pilot? That's somebody. I can send you these slides. I know that the writing is tiny, but I'll send them to you. So don't trouble yourself to get every last detail here. I'll send them all out, inshallah, to everybody. The first role that I notice men look for is a co-pilot, and sometimes men don't even know that they're looking for one of these 4 roles. But I haven't thought of a 5th one. Someone can enlighten me if they have any other insight. The first one is the co-pilot. So that's someone who's going to be involved. Does it mean 50-50? And does it mean that she's going to take charge of the family? But his job is to be the pilot. That's his default job that Allah gave him. He has to be the pilot. That's his job. So he wants a co-pilot, what does the co-pilot do? They make a lot of major decisions. They help in the major decisions. They sometimes take the place of the pilot when he's unable to do certain things, or she. I know women could be pilots nowadays. So it is someone who contributes very significantly in the direction of where we're going, in any challenges, and oversees in a very, the input that they give is very managerial, is very directly involved, right? So it's someone that is a co-decision maker, not in every single decision, but in a lot of decisions that would be the man's main responsibility, but he includes her there, and that's the kind of relationship they have. That's what they're looking for, not that they have, that they're looking for. They're looking for a co-pilot. Some people, they want a stewardess. What does the stewardess do? Does she have, or he have, any say in the direction of the plane? In major decisions like, okay, wheels up, we're closing the door right now. Just, they listen. But then they have some decision making, they have some capacity in the comfort and the housekeeping of the plane. The plane can't function without them, and they must they must take that role for it to function properly. But it's delegated or limited to specific roles only, and they're usually limited to things that are not the direction of where we're heading, or major decisions like that. Kids schooling, things like that. This is not going to be co-pilot, this is a stewardess. Co-pilot would look into those things and probably have some input, while the stewardess would have very little or not at all on those, but food, cooking, cleaning, vacation, stuff like that. Then the man wants her to completely take all of those, and he doesn't have any input in those, but then he's going to exclusively run the direction of the plane, when we're landing, when we're taking off, turbulence, all that stuff. You don't have a say, you just let the passengers know. The passenger, what does the passenger do? You just eat the slop that they put onto your tray, right? When they tell you, put your seatbelts on, your input is zero. Your input is not even welcome, actually, right? You ever try to give input on a plane? They're not interested, right? They have no interest. You have no say in these major or minor decisions. What decisions do you make? Right? Chicken, fish, or beef, which is all slop. So you have no real decision. It's all being made for you. So you just sit down, enjoy the ride, or not. You may or may not at times. And your input is not welcome or very limited to absolutely trivial things. Or if they're not trivial, just they're not really related to any type of big picture. And then some men want luggage. Luggage, does it complain when you throw it around? They don't want to hear it. The luggage area has no air conditioning. The luggage area, they get stacked together. When luggage says fragile on it, what do? They throw it extra hard. Does it always have to get manhandled? No. Does it get manhandled? 90% of the time. Does it have any input? Does it have any take? Absolutely not. And it's treated as such. Does it have to be manhandled? No. Luggage could be taken very good care of. And it could arrive as good as you got it on a private jet or something. But usually, you don't ride on a private jet, do you? You ride on an economy airliner, like all of us. And it gets manhandled and it gets broken and things inside aren't the way they're supposed to be. It arrives, but is not ideal, right? So you get the metaphors, right? It's clear how these roles fit. Can you think of another one? Did I miss something? Is it completely off? How many people are looking for a co-pilot? Sisters, look that way. How many people are looking for a stewardess? How many people are looking for a passenger? Text me if you're looking for luggage. I'll keep on the deal, don't worry. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't do a very good job. I tried. My best, maybe. I did try. That's a great point. One person can have the characteristics of them all. I don't even gotta look up. Don't encourage her. That's my wife, by the way. All right, now I'm gonna ask you. You said a smart wife plays all 4 roles. Do you want the microphone? That wasn't you? I thought that was you. All right. Everybody erase the last 30 seconds. They never happened. Carrying on with the original plan. Yeah, I think a smart wife would play different roles at different times. I don't think... Is there a time where... luggage is just very derogatory, and it was meant to be, because I don't think people are luggage or should be ever treated as luggage, just thrown around with no consideration. So I think a smart woman or the role of a woman would demand that she probably fulfill all 3 at certain times. That's true. I don't think anyone should ever be forced or treated or considered or expected to be luggage. So I'd eliminate the last category. But the first 3, yeah, a woman might have to play these different roles at different times. But the point of this slide was some men look for only one role. They never want the woman to be anything but luggage or a stewardess or a passenger or the co-pilot. That's a lot of men. They are looking... Maybe not 100%. Some of them will look 100% for one of these roles. That I've experienced, I've seen. And some of them won't be 100%, but they want her 80% co-pilot, 20% stewardess. 80% stewardess, 20% passenger. 80% passenger, 20% luggage. There's people like that. Don't go ask a man, am I going to be your co-pilot or your luggage? He'll be like, what the heck are you talking about? But at the same time, feel from his input what he's looking for. And then is that role the role you want to play? If not, guess what? You fundamentally disagree on the roles of marriage. This marriage is not going to work out. Even if you're, the most religious man and woman. That was the point here. Thoughts, comments, concerns, questions? Are people sending in the Slido? Did I insult enough people today? The main objective of every day. Please feel free to... There's one Slido question? I'm getting there. I'm trying to open it. Or is there a real question? Person? Passengers... Is all of this learning super necessary? Sorry for lack of a better word. When we know marriage is nasib, how do we balance trusting nasib and tying our camel? It's absolutely necessary. Nasib, what does nasib mean? Nasib doesn't mean it's written and there's nothing you can do about it. Nasib means it was written. Everything was written. The number of breaths I'm going to take was written. My religious deeds were written, decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't mean that I am just observing it happen. I play a role, right? Just like with everything else. Of course, all this learning is super necessary. Are any women okay with actually being anything less than a co-pilot? Yes. Do you want to do a survey? How many sisters want to be a co-pilot? Don't worry, no one's looking. Brothers, look over there. How many sisters want to be a stewardess? How many sisters want to be a passenger? How many sisters want to be luggage? There you go. So whoever asked that question, there was your survey in this small limited sample, and you could take a bigger sample and you'll get different results. Not everybody wants to be a co-pilot. Is there a right answer to this? What do you prefer? I'm not getting married here. That's not what we're doing here. Is there a right answer? No. I don't think there's a right answer. Like I said, I fundamentally disagree with somebody being treated as luggage. But the other 3, I don't think there's a right answer there. Different people have different cultures and different things going on and different configurations in their life. What's with obedience? We are partners. So, why is obedience out of the question if we're partners? He includes her in her own life decisions. They listen. I don't understand. What do you mean cooking clean? I'm not sure how to break that down further. I'm not being sarcastic. Whoever wants the woman like this, stay away from us. Okay? This is why we're doing this. So now you are I did this to myself. All right. Feel free to send follow-up questions if my answer was not sufficient or too sarcastic. I don't mind doing it again. Everybody has the charts? I don't mean giving the same answer again. I mean answering the question again if it wasn't clear. But I could do it again. Don't push me. Can this be zoomed in? No. Everybody has these. So we had the same charts when it was with men. Obviously, some of the questions are different. Does this side have them? No? Okay. So, how many papers do you have? 15 on each side? Total? Oh, I'm on each side. That was my fault, though. So, I mean, people can share for now. If they want to come up to the screens, no, that's gonna be horrible. Well, let's have people share for now, and then we'll print some more. So here's this. It's the same charts. Not everybody needs their own chart. But remember what we did last time. Round one is what? So here are the qualities. Let me run over them quickly. You're going to be getting these sheets that have all the qualities on them. The first category is spiritual qualities. Category number 1, prayer, the consistency of prayer. A 5 means she never misses a single prayer, and salah is clearly an anchoring principle in her life. And 0 means there's no consistent relationship with prayer. She has no consistent relationship with prayer. Prays sometimes, doesn't, who knows. Quranic knowledge, 5, she consistently reads. She has a consistent daily comprehensive relationship with the Quran where she reads, reflects, and memorizes. 0, might call somebody to read on her if she feels that they gave her the eye. Masjid relationship, 5, attends regularly and is heavily involved. 0, only attends on occasions. Activism, 5, is up to date and involved with the ummah locally and globally. And that could mean a lot of things, which is why I left it open. But a 5 means very involved. 0 means very ignorant or unconcerned or indifferent. Doesn't know what's going on in the ummah, doesn't do anything about it. Spiritual growth, 5, she regularly learns about every aspect of the deen that she can. And then 0, there's no spiritual growth. Hijab, I added hijab. So these are the same categories from the males, and I added hijab here into spiritual qualities. 5 is full head coverings, abayas, wide loose clothing, as people may differ here, but that's generally what we'd say as a 5. 0 to minimal makeup. A 0 would be no head covering, tight clothing, revealing clothing, full clown face, that kind of stuff. Emotional qualities, patience, kindness, care, temper, humor, nurturing, intelligence. You could read the categories there. The range is 0 to 5 based on how much of that they have. So that one's self-explanatory. Next, lifestyle, height, weight, beauty, hair. Same thing as with males. 0 is what you absolutely do not want, and 5 is what you want. So just a scale of 1 to 5, just like with the males. Lifestyle. So lifestyle, career. Number 1 is career. 5 means a full-time job and plans to climb in her field, to continue climbing. And 0, no career or plans to engage in one. Cooking. 5, Michelin stars in several cuisines. I don't know who came up with this. 0, can't boil an egg. Cleaning. 5, takes on all cleaning tasks fully. 0, doesn't take on the task of household cleanliness. Spending, number 5 is endless spending. Hide your credit card, hide your debit card, hide your library card. 0 is she's the more frugal half of this marriage. Next, habits and luxury considerations. Eating, personal hygiene, excitement, energy, helpfulness, planned time management, luxury, sports, travel, food, friends. These are all the same as they were for the male categories. 0 is what you don't want, and 5 is exactly what you want. So it's the scale is up to you. So what does 0 eating mean? Eating habits means their eating habits don't match you at all and you don't like it. And 5 means they eat exactly as you want them to eat. Sports, 0 is they're not into sports at all, and 5 is they're as into sports as you want them to be. They're going to go with you to the World Cup, they're going to play with you tennis, whatever that means to you. Same thing with all the other categories. All right, round 1, as you know, you build the perfect wife. Any questions, comments, concerns? Do we need more? Are we good with the groups and everyone has the categories in front of them? That's true. Everybody, what you're going to do is don't put the, listen up, don't put the numbers on the actual paper because we're going to need it for the second round. So everyone do it either on a separate paper that's yours or on your phone or something. Because we need this paper. Unless we're going to go keep printing more and more. We could do that, but I'd rather just use this one paper. Everyone's going to put it on their phone anyway or write it on their own. What? He's building? I can't hear you. Or a Palestinian, depends how you think about it. That's true. Three to five, they're in the middle. Three. Five is like somebody who might be protesting, who might be organizing, who might be. Five would be the very top. It's a spectrum. Look, zero in activism means what it's. That's why I put those gradients for those to make it clearer. Huh? Five of what? Yeah. It's written there. It means full abayas, full head covering, no, it's all written there. That's what five means. Yeah. Okay, how are you doing? It's okay, you don't gotta finish it all the way. We're gonna do four. Remember, there's 4 rounds of this. This is round 1 out of 4, so it's okay. Okay, we got 4 more rounds, guys and sisters. So let's get started. Let me get some spiritual breakdowns. Brothers over here, what do you choose for prayer consistency? How many people chose 5 for prayer consistency? Anyone choose anything different and want to share why? Either live or on Slido? Anything besides 5 for prayer consistency? People have different things. I've heard people say, you know what? That's between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This isn't the biggest concern for me. They've straight up said that. People are different. So if people want to share that, that's up to them. Maybe they'll say 4, which is like, look, I definitely want them to be about prayer, and it's a high 4, but never misses a single prayer. I miss prayer sometimes, so I want to hold that to somebody else. Some people have that outlook, and whether it's right or wrong is a different discussion altogether, but this is not what we're doing here. We're not looking at right or wrong only. We're exploring what people usually say. But I'm sure none of us would say 0 or 1, right? Being masjid-going people, you most likely wouldn't do that, but that's not always the case. Not just with non-masjid-going people, even with masjid-going people. Sometimes, like I said, they see, they get infatuated by someone, or there's other strong good qualities, and then they start to weigh these things. But of course, prayer is at the very top of religious commitment. It is what it means to have a meaningful relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without it, no meaningful relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is possible. So it is something that is, almost objective, 100% of it. Quranic knowledge, what does that mean, 5, to you? That she memorized the whole Quran? Daily reading and looking at the meanings and application. Anything else? Yeah, Ziad. 2.5, which means she's able to read from the Mus'haf on her own. She can read the Arabic Quran. That's enough. Okay, cool. Taro? Who said that? It doesn't have to teach like that. So this is where your subjectivity comes in. You could say 5, and that means she's memorized the whole Quran and she teaches in the masjid. It's up to you. So what does 3 mean to you? She's in a Quran class, actively learning. Cool. Masjid relationship, sisters want to chime in? What kind of masjid relationships do sisters want to have? So, yeah. Feel free, anybody. What does 5 mean to you? Okay, so 3. Sevi, you had some, said 5? You want to weigh in on what 5 means? Okay. I want to spread it a little bit. Anyone has a different number? Go ahead, Ruqayya. Send it to me. Everything can be discussed. I'm hearing people's opinions right now. So like, I want to hear a specific opinion from people. 5 means she's a Quran teacher according to the people over here. And they want, and that based on that scale, they'd want a 3. According over here, you said 5 would mean in the masjid 2 days a week, involved with the kids, involved with programming. And based on that, that's what you want to do. So just your subjective opinion is fine. Yeah, Neda? So this is a common issue where people have different involvement in the masjid for men and for women before they're married, and then after they're married, expectations change, responsibilities change. And this shake-up, people deal with it differently. Some people get super depressed. I was in the masjid before I met you, now I'm barely there. You are working for Iblis, you're looking for the masjid, right? Like, maybe not that extreme, but they'll see it as a negative consequence of the marriage. I'm no longer in the masjid, while it could be exactly what you discussed, which is things change, and now you won't be the same, but doesn't mean it's a negative thing. The phase of your life has changed. And for some people, it doesn't change at all. They get right back into it. One of my teachers in Mecca, on the day of his wedding, he went to Quran class that night to teach. Like, he left his wedding early to finish teaching Quran class. Guess what? His wife had to understand, this is who I am, and this is never going to change. And they're married till today, 40 years later. Like, this was an expectation that they had. This was a life that they both signed up for, and this is how it went. For other people, that might not be the case. No, don't say it. Don't say it, Muhammad. Stop. You're doing good. Let's move on, because we're running out of time. Can we do activism? Let me hear just one group on each side. Go ahead, Yusuf. What does that mean? She doesn't or does? Well, you guys elected him as the speaker, so... Sure. I wish I could do that sometimes. You guys aren't in agreement. She reposts. We're not making fun of things. These are steps. Some people don't do anything. That's what the zero's for. Yeah, Muhammad. So in your mind, that's what a 5 is, because this is all subjective. Maybe in someone else's mind, that's not what a 5 is. So but we're just hearing you right now, which is fine. I'm just making that clear for everybody. These aren't my opinions. These aren't the correct opinions. We're hearing everyone's opinions and making fun of them occasionally. Go ahead, Amr. Last one, I want to bounce sisters, because we have a bunch of categories and we have 4 more rounds. And it's almost my bedtime. Okay? So forget about what the new rules will be or the new configuration or like what you want. I'm saying what is... or what you're going to do. I mean, what is, as you pick her up and say, I want to marry this woman, what is her level of activism that you're looking for? That's what we're doing right now. Marital life later and how we're going to agree on these things, we didn't get there yet. Yeah, Zach? 2 or 3? Is that how it works? But not on the front lines. That's what it sounds like you guys saying. Okay, sisters, can I get one sister to represent our group? Go ahead, Guinevere. Which means to you? So I did that just as an idea, but for some, that itself can mean different things to different people. What does it mean involved with the ummah and up to date? For some people, it could mean you know the exact information that's happening in Sudan and in Turkmenistan and in Syria and in Palestine. And for others, that might mean no, you know that there's stuff happening here, but you may not necessarily know what the new updates are. So that it can mean different things for different people depending on them, which is why I'm asking people now so that really everyone can get an idea of what exists out there. Yeah, Shahid? That's what activism is, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing. Jazakallah khairan. I'm gonna jump to. I want to move on to categories, but we probably have to continue this next time. We won't finish all 4 rounds, and it's important that we do, just like we did for choosing a husband, because a lot of these things need to be explored a lot. Spiritual growth. Go ahead, Ziad. Right. Similar conclusion we arrived at last time for the males. Yeah. If spiritual growth is a 5, that means activism, relationship with the masjid, Quranic knowledge, and prayer consistency can all have much more hope than if they were 5s in activism and spiritual growth was 0. I think it's a great summary. Go ahead, Umar. Not necessarily. They attend classes, they're enrolled in classes, they could be in the beginning of their journey but doing a lot more work than someone who's been on the journey for 10 years. So maybe right now, but then their potential for growth outshines somebody who's been on the journey for decades. Somebody's been on the journey, they're religiously oriented or whatever you want to call it, they're religious or practicing, whatever these words mean. But then their growth, they've been stagnant for 20 years, they've been doing this. While this person's just started, but they're doing this clearly. This person is going to surpass that one in no time. So the different categories. Sisters, for spiritual growth. Thoughts on spiritual growth? Going once, going twice. Go ahead, Shahid. Okay, thank you. Jazakallah khairan. Hijab. Go ahead. Make the average of all your numbers. Okay? Which means? Okay. So for you guys, it was a 3.5. That was the number. Was the figure of the body is fully covered, and it's not necessarily a headscarf. Also, your team differs. Go ahead. Classic Arabs. And one Pakistani. That's fine. He fits. They do kuritas. This is good. That's the number is not as important as the explanation. What does that mean to you? Because it does mean different things for different people, as we just found out right now, very clearly. You got to quantify that now. Has a neck? Oh, I was about to say, she doesn't have one, it'd be a much bigger problem. Exactly. So that's why I'd want you, at this point in what you're doing, this isn't judgment. It is judgment, but you're supposed to be judging people. You don't want to be judgmental, but do you want to judge people? Of course. Judgmental means you're not a good person, you're evil, you're going to the hellfire, Allah doesn't love you, you're not following the sunnah. No, you don't need to do all that. But judging these qualities, of course you should judge them. This is the most important judgment you're making in your life. Who's about to be your life partner? Just like we said with the sisters a few weeks ago, you judge the men. So there's nothing wrong with judging it here and saying, okay, I want this level of head covering, this level of, like you said, cover the neck. This is the hijab that you're satisfied with for the woman that you'd call your wife. This is your prerogative, and this is something that you're going to be responsible for to a great extent. Any other takes? Go ahead, Yassine. Which means? Okay, so 5 and exactly as this metric says. Any other takes here, sisters? Feel free. Or to send it here. All right, moving on to emotional qualities. Here we have patience, kindness and care, temper, humor, nurturing, intelligence. Let me just hear some numbers. Patience. Any other numbers? Shout them out. 5, 4, 3. Lowest I heard is 3. Okay? Kindness and care. Temper. What does 2 mean? You want her to fight back. She's gonna. You don't have to bring that up. What does that mean though? Like fists? Boxing? I don't know. Is that we told the judge we wouldn't do that anymore, so we can't. What else do you have? Huh? Okay. You guys kidding? Or you just like the joke is keep going, so maybe you're not joking. These guys want to, a couple of rounds to settle the heat. Okay, that could work. Not legal, not halal either. Can't sanction it on the microphone or off the microphone. Okay, so she can be mad but don't disrespect. So that's where you'd put as a 2. Okay, humor. Let me hear some numbers. 5s, you want her to entertain you and make you laugh all the time? 2, 3. So 3, you don't aim to be stand-up comedy, but you want to be a little humorous. That's what I'm guessing. Over here, some of you guys said 5, so you want her to make you laugh all the time? 0, you're not looking for a stand-up comedian. Okay. So keep in mind, 0 humor means that she's not going to laugh at any of your jokes either, which she most likely will not anyway, but she has no humor. She doesn't need to produce it. She just needs to understand yours. Perfect. That is a you don't understand how good it is to know exactly what you want and to hear it from somebody. That is so good. Thank you. He let you know exactly what he wants. You're not going to be second guessing. Just make me think I'm smarter, funnier than I am. That's it. It doesn't have to be funny. You don't have to guffaw out loud and bring all the attention to us. Just make me funnier than I really am. Okay. Nurturing. Anything else? Feel free to shout it out, send it here. I'll read it occasionally. A lot of these from the brothers seem performative. All right. They don't think any of you are genuine. Sorry, they're not they. This person doesn't think any of you are genuine. Huh? You don't need, they're anonymous. Who cares? I'm just letting you know. You sound performative. According to this one person. One person thinks you're performative. We want short women. We didn't get there yet. You're not marrying a potential. They just started. Does not mean they will get there. Many go on spiritual high, then fall. That's not what we said. We said you analyze their spiritual growth, and it can be analyzed as real, genuine. So you didn't see them at, you just saw them in 3 different places. Oh, this person's spiritual growth is high, because that could be what you said, a spiritual high, then it drops. No, you observe them over an amount of time, doesn't have to be too long or too weird, but you've seen that they actually are engaged in regular learning classes over a certain amount of time that's pleasing to you for the spiritual growth. So you're right. But then hopefully you will be able to look into it deeply and arrive at the conclusion that it's not just a spiritual high. But you're right. Sounds like we're babysitting men to think they're right and funny. That's annoying. This is a fundamental part of marriage. Lying to your spouse. Hold up. Lying to your spouse in the social category. That was so funny. That tasted so good. Yes, you do look jacked. All of these things, see how hard the women laugh when it's against the men, but when you dish it, but you can't deal it. You dish it, but you can't handle it. That's not a good thing. You should be able to dish it and handle it. When we did this with the men, we had comments calling them fat and bald, and we all had a gay old time and laughed, and it was great. But then now we want to get offended, so let's keep that in mind, because that's called what? Emotional immaturity. We're having a good time. There's a lot of anonymity here to give people protection, and we're exploring these things. This is a step of a journey. We're not there yet. We didn't arrive at what marriage in Islam is, or choosing a spouse, or the courting process, or tons of other things we're still going to explore. So take it easy. Relax. But when it comes to, if your wife comes up to you and says, is this better than your mother's? What's the answer? Okay? Any other answer, you're most likely an idiot. Straight up. Truth or not truth is irrelevant here. Your husband asks you, do I look built? What's the only right answer? Of course you do. This is called being a spouse. It's not called babying anybody. This is called, do I look fat in this? What's the answer? They're setting you up bad. Really bad. There's only one answer. What do I do here, Ahmed? Open sesame. It's not working. You didn't tell me your password, bro? You don't trust me? So it's important to... Some of these seems, speaking about performative, some of these seem like they're just trolling, so I won't address them, but if it's not trolling, I'll address it even if it's a hot take or even if it's controversial. That's why it's here. It's cool. But in any case, these lists were made by what people actually look for. So whether people like it or not, this is the reality. This is what men look for in a spouse. These are the qualities that they analyze. Some of them are supported by our deen, supported by our cultures, supported by research, and some of them are not. It's just life. Just like when we were in the other category with the brothers, remember? We went through hair and courage and physical strength. Does today's world necessarily need a bunch of these things, especially not hair? No. But these are things that women would ask about. So we put them there and you rated them and we discussed it. And we're doing the same thing here. So we're equal opportunity, right? We're doing the same thing, and it makes no sense for one side to take it one way or another. If it's insulting, or if I'm being insulting, then please do call me out and I'll might apologize. Patience, kindness, care, temper, humor, nurturing, intelligence. Intelligence, very quickly. 5 means there's no right or wrong answer. 3 means what, Mab? Sorry to call you out, but just... Okay. 3 is up to date with different topics, basically, but not necessarily knowing everything and being in depth. Brothers, one answer for a number, 0 to 5, intelligence and what it means. You didn't get there. Oh, wow. Okay. So here's what we have. Does anyone want to explore in these categories? Anyone has any insight about any of these categories they want to share? So we have 3 more rounds. It's 8:30. Do you guys want to do this next Thursday? This Thursday, who says right now? Brothers, who says right now? All right, I don't know why I asked that because I didn't count. I didn't really. So let's try that again. Everybody who wants to keep going right now, raise your hand. Sorry. There's no pressure. All right. Huh? Of course I want to go home. How long do you guys want to go for? 10 more minutes? 15? Can I get a 20? Huh? 25? 15 is good? Should we make a vote? 30? Someone said 30? You're tripping. 20 is fine? Let's say, no, 9 is a lot. Let's say 8:45, 13 minutes. It's a good number. There's no number 13 on the elevator, by the way. Just, thought you ought to know. Height. People are scared of that. Why? No, I thought you meant height. Height. Yes. I love that. Let's do it simple. How many people want to be taller than the husband? How many people want to be the same height as the husband? They're okay with that. How many people the husband must be taller than them? All right. How many people here your wife has to be shorter than you? How many people it's okay if she's the same height? How many people it's okay if she's taller than you? You raise your hands twice, which you could have raised your hands for the last one, and that's it. But it's okay. That was my fault. All right. So that's like a good just general survey for me, I guess. I'm the only one who saw everybody. Weight. Yeah, going for the controversial ones. And what does it mean? I'm asking you. The ball is in your court. That's exactly what I put here. Some people, that's, is this superficial? Is beauty or physical qualities, is this category superficial? Who thinks so? Superficial? Meaning what? Shouldn't be looked at all? Okay, that's true. So people, who says we shouldn't look at it at all? Shouldn't consider any of these qualities at all. So I don't know if people really mean that, but if you really mean that, you're right. They have to be looked at. If we're not going to look at them at all, we're just not being realistic. This is just not how people are made. Are some people like that where they don't care about the physical qualities at all? Sure. Are they rare? Rarer than the rarest. Everybody, even if they're blind, there's sometimes some physical characteristics that they're gonna consider. So this is just human nature. Is it superficial? Yeah, it is. And it's easily lost and changed, God forbid, but this is just the reality. Time will change some of it, la mahala. No, it's just no way you can stop that, right? It's ticking against all of us. But with that being said, people consider them heavily. It's a big deal for a lot of people. Lifestyle, let's do this one. Do I have anything else after this? Oof. This is we're going to skip. We're not going to skip, but we're going to end it soon. We'll stop with lifestyle, inshallah. Career, so 5 is full-time job, and plans to climb in her field even further. Be the director of something or just be involved in whatever. So, and then 0 is no career or plans to engage in one. Like just none. 1, what does that mean? Full-time job, part-time job? With the 1. She can sit or you want her to? So what is your preference from 0 to 5? You'd rather her be a 1. But you're open to... Okay, sure. Ziad? That's not what we're talking about right now. Like, I get that, but we'll put that's not what we're into. Just simply the career from a 0 to 5. Okay. Any other takes? Yeah, Gunir. It's not, this is career, not job. That could be a career. You're into nonprofit work, that's your career. Well, it's to the extent of a full-time job's hours. Let's just make it easier. Because that'd still be a career that's outside of the home. That's what this is about. 1, okay? Okay. Okay. Anything different? There's no right or wrong answer. This is subjective. Cooking. We get some numbers. Someone said here, I don't cook and I don't clean, get a maid. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that outlook. You just got to find someone who agrees with it. Someone who's not going to have the expectations of cooking or cleaning. Many men do. That's just the reality. They weren't added on this list to troll you. This is what people look for. So as long as you know that it will come up and you won't, it won't be, it's going to be, if it's something that's make it or break it for you, absolutely not. You must get it made. So you must find someone who what? one agrees with that, and two, what? Can afford a maid. Can afford a maid to cook and clean 100% of the time for your family moving forward. This is what you're going to have to look for now. So you're shrinking your pool. That's just the reality. Your pool of potentials is getting smaller financially, smaller just from what men want. This is just the reality. Does that mean you're wrong? No. I don't cook or clean. My family never did. We always hired maids. So you are stuck to that category of suitors. Don't waste your time getting mad at suitors for asking about cooking and cleaning. Just the second that question comes up, say, okay, you're done. It's not something I can agree with. But then say, why don't men want that? This is just reality. Don't take out the anger on like the gender of men. This is how they are. Across cultures, across the world, across history. They're going to look for this. Does Islam mandate she does that? No, it doesn't. Does it make sense for you to hire somebody? Sure. Is it realistic? No. Expect that so you don't run into a brick wall. That's all. Can I get some numbers for cooking and cleaning? Cooking first. 1. You okay with Uber Eats? Or you cooking? Are you cooking? Are you expecting her to do cooking? Okay. I guess this one, okay, sure. This one would be better put on as cleaning. Do you expect her to take on the cooking of the home? Is what I should have put better. I guess cooking skills as well. Okay. Anybody? Yeah, Marwa? Okay. Yeah, it's the modern day is a lot easier. Any other takes? Yeah, I seen. 3 in the middle means okay, flexible. How often would you order in a week? 2 days, 3 days? So these are, again, as much as I love trolling you guys, that's not where these things are born from. This is born from actually counseling people who fight over these things. They both have full-time jobs. They come home, get Uber Eats. What are you talking about? You're the wife. We both just walked in at the same time. Then they have this huge fight because it was an expectation from his side and something completely different from hers. That's why we're talking about it here, right? Not because it's trying to force one answer or the other. So far, you guys have been speaking the majority of the time, which is why it's a no, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Taro. If she does what? Forget about the depends. What is your expectations? I just told you with this person, there was no that didn't come into the expectation that she has a full-time job. She says, no, you cook, period. Gets enraged at the idea of Uber Eats or whatever other app. This is a real situation. Like enraged. Like, how could you? So what number would you give it? How often do you expect meals? Okay, you guys are thinking too far ahead, and I'll get into that later. Sisters, any insight on this side anymore? Cleaning? Go ahead, Guinevere, then Jasmine. She has to be an expert chef and take it all on? That was trolling. That was me just kidding. I just had Michelin stars. But okay, no, never mind. So you put 4, so everything but the dishes. He has to do the dishes or hire somebody. Or make the kids do it. Well, but I love, so this is the most useful thing. If you have, again, a potential like we had from this side, we have another one from this side who is that straight up, that's great. Now this person will understand you have a thing for the dishes, you don't want to do them, and this is an expectation, but everything else you'll have down. And this could be it's just a perfect outlook to begin with, which is the person's not going to be confused. Hey, why are you not doing the dishes? You clean the whole house and you always leave me the dishes. Then they get enraged because it's been piling on with a bunch of other things and their whole life and all these other occasions that happen. And then it comes out and you're like, I cleaned the whole house. Why are you flipping about the dishes? I told you I don't like the way the food gets all icky and whatever. You do that. And then it's a huge problem over a really small issue that could have been just easily communicated in the very beginning. Like, by the way, this is something I find super icky. And in the beginning, where everyone's in the honeymoon phase, they'll accept it and it'll kind of just go in with the rest of life. And then maybe it'll get readdressed later, or maybe not. But then it actually was squashed in the very beginning. As opposed to left to kind of like, let me just clean and hope he doesn't notice I don't do the dishes, or let me try to make a big argument about getting a dishwasher or hiring someone, or that. Now it's like things get swept under the rug and they just create bumps on the road. So that's good. Any other takes? Yeah. I said Jasmine, sorry, then Layla, then Jasmine. So it depends on what the person's expectations are, but in terms of cooking, you know how to cook, but then the Arab food would be, some people, they do that. I've seen plenty of marriage resumes which must be able to cook. Some people list dishes. Some people list actual dishes. Some people say Southeast Indian cuisine or whatever Arab cuisine. They list it, must know how to do it. It's a deal breaker. To each their own, right? Cleaning, 3.5, which means? Okay, so that means you'll primarily take it on, but there should be some aid, especially when it's a bigger task or you're tired. Go ahead, Ruqayya. Okay, so 4 is everything but the heavy lifting and the garbage. Guys, 4, which means? So you'll help in your free time, which means that's what you designate as a 4. So you don't like dishes. All right, good, noted. But then you don't mind splitting them, so there's going to be some that are your regular task. Like what? Okay, good. So there's certain tasks that he's willing to take on, and he rated that as a 3, meaning these will be his tasks, and they're not just taking out the garbage, they're actually more than that. Let me get a few more brothers, and we'll move on because we're at 8:45, and it's about choosing a wife, right? Brothers? That's it? You guys are good on the cleaning, no other input? Okay, sisters? Go ahead, sister. Remind me your name, sister, sorry. Nazima? Go ahead. Mm-hmm. The housework, traditionally, at that time specifically, was already divided into tasks. So the men would get firewood, the men would get food, there were certain tasks around the house that they were already doing. And then the woman would do everything else. This was just the cultural expectation. With that being said, some of these cultural configurations in the time of the Prophet ﷺ himself were altered because people are different, right? Even within one culture. But that was the general culture. Certain tasks that belong to men and certain tasks belong to women. And likewise, every culture has carried that on, moving onwards. So these are the things we have to consider. Our deen, we just explored all those roles as the deen says them. The cultural roles, we're going to explore those a little bit as well. And then most importantly is that you meld these two through what? Through communication with each other. Is housework in and of itself highly encouraged? Objectively, no. But because it is the expectation of the majority of cultures throughout human history, that the man is out and about doing all this stuff, then it was expected that the woman do it. Right? But it doesn't mean that it is mandated in and of itself. So what does that mean? What does this all translate into? If in her culture, she hires maids, she doesn't do the housework, she doesn't clean, and these are generalities that need to be explored specifically, but this is a general ruling. If in her culture she doesn't cook, she doesn't clean, they always had maids, she's from an affluent family, or not even that affluent, but this is their norm, and the man marries her, she can demand that continued standard. Meaning, no, you took me from a home, I never cooked, never cleaned, we never discussed this, I would have told you I don't do these things. Now it would be a viable point of contention. As opposed to married her from a family where that's the norm, that's the culture, everyone else does that, and then says, no, that you can't Islamically command me with that. No, now who's going against the norm? She is. You get it? In the first scenario, he was. Is it the cultural norm of all these women? No, but it's the specific norm of this woman and her family. That's considered. Then the cultural norm is also considered. So these are, again, generalities we can explore more later, but that's how it works. So the housework in and of itself is not mandated. It's the cultural expectation that mandates it. And if the cultural expectation is to be broken, what are you supposed to do? It's very simple. If you're going to not go with the cultural norm, what do you need to do? Stare at me blankly for 10 seconds till you don't feel awkward. It's not going to work. The question was, if you are going to go against the cultural norm, then what do you need to do? Discuss it. Communicate it. That's all. Hey, I don't cook or clean, ever. It's all right. I'm rich. Uber Eats. We're going to hire a maid. It's done. It's not realistic, but it's done. That would be that situation's finished. Next, hey, my parents have this kind of situation where blah, 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 blah. I need to be there every Saturday. I'm going to sleep there. Is that a norm in family? No, the norm is that they're together in their household. This breaks the cultural norm. Communicate it. Don't spring it up on someone later. In my culture, you're going to live with my parents. Already head shaking right away. If it's our shared culture, and your parents did it, and my parents did it, and everyone around us did it, what's your job to do? It's your job to do what? Communicate that this is not something I'm down with. That's it. So communication is what's key here. No one can demand things that are, people can expect things that are the cultural norm. And those who are trying to break it, you just have to make it clear. And if you're in a place where this is the ubiquitous culture, everyone has it, then you're wrong. But you're lucky that you're 26 almost in America, where there's a lot of flexibility and the world has changed a lot. If you were in some village in whatever stan or whatever country, right? That wasn't a joke. Like I didn't mean like any country, any Arab country, any European country, any Southeast Asian country. I meant anything. Stan means land, guys. That wasn't I wasn't taking a stab at anybody. Okay? No one ever looked for the republic for which it stand. Where's that one? But anyway, any country that you're from, if you were in some village in there and that was like the overwhelming current around you, guess what? You're Islamically obligated to fall in line. If it's not haram. You would be sinful for going to war against the culture. That's just how it is. You're being a weirdo. You're going against the grain. With what right do you have to do that if it's not haram? Allah created us like that. It's a test for all of us. Some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. It's okay. But you're a little bit luckier where you're in 2026 America, where there's a lot more flexibility than almost anywhere else in the world. Doesn't mean it's fully flexible. It just means you'll have more leeway than other places. So lastly, the last thing I'll say is take this list now, all these numbers you did, and do what with it? Straight to the garbage. This is it. Perfect looks, always agreeable. Noor disagrees, desired. All right, AI tried. He doesn't even have the right amount of fingers. Oh, no, he does. Good job, AI. So take this ideal list that you took and throw it straight to the garbage, delete the file, erase it all. This was a fun experiment. We had a nice discussion. This is not how it works. You don't get to choose what you want and put whatever numbers that you want. That is not how it works. It's not Build-A-Bear. You're not going to go there and choose everything that you want. You have a pool in front of you. These traits are still what you're going to look at, and you're going to take from that pool and see what fits best, closest to what you wanted. Because if you look for exactly what you want, just like we said to the other side when we were talking about choosing the right spouse, the right husband, if you make that list, it's this or nothing, guess what it's going to be? It's going to be nothing. The ideal spouse does not exist. But you're going to make that list. This is as close as I want with being realistic. Not fives through everything. Fives through everything, then I'll tell you, you're not ready for marriage. You're not mature enough if you just said fives through everything. But the fact that most of them were fives, fours, and threes, that's okay. But now let's get realistic with it. And inshallah, we'll start that from next time. We'll start with round 2. You have a limited amount of points. Habits get replaced by flaws. And flaws function on the opposite scale. So the less points in them, the lower the number is. You got to put more into a flaw to get rid of it. So remember, we'll discuss this more next time. There's no point in doing it here. We're not going to do it now. So round 2 starting next time, and then we'll finish the rest. Love how this is. Okay, that's great. Supporting your husband, sure. Performative, blah, blah, blah. Guys coach is right. Guys coach, is that me? We have to stop fighting to win together? A lot of women have become their own enemies, not realizing from appealing to their own fitrah is what guarantees a happy marriage. Every single person in here is their own worst enemy. The biggest barrier to a successful marriage is you. The collective you, all of us. The biggest barrier to my marriage succeeding is me. That's the biggest hurdle I have to overcome. That's what brings in the most turmoil, the most haram to this marriage is me. So I can control that, and I have to always think that way. The number one barrier to this marriage succeeding, to these kids growing into good Muslims, to us succeeding as a Muslim family is me. Me is the speaker, you. It's not my husband, it's not my wife, it's not the patriarchy, it's not whatever the opposite of patriarchy is, it's not feminism, it's not misogyny, it's not toxic, whatever. It is you. That is the only mindset of a successful Muslim spouse. We've established that over and over. That doesn't mean everything that I mentioned is not a problem. No, they are all problems, everything I mentioned. They're not the main problem, the main obstacle. It's you. It's me. 4, for cooking. Cook for him when he comes home from work. Not every day, though. Would prefer to go out at least twice a week. So that's something that's in the category of food, right? The food was in the luxuries or the miscellaneous. How often you go out, what kind of cuisines you guys like. Are you foodies? That you'll put in from 0 to 5. Oh, I got the coach's right meme. I remember. Okay. Thank you for refreshing our memory. 5'3" is perfect. All right. So whoever needs that information, there you go. We build a career, now you want us to be at home. Get your act together. What's your problem? Guys, make up your mind, according to this person. No cook or clean tour for me. What should you expect? It doesn't mandate for us. Okay? So make that clear. There's nothing wrong with that. You are wrong for demanding that everyone agrees with you. Like you're saying, why do you expect this? They do expect it. You just say, I won't do it. That's all. You have no right to be offended that other people want it. This is reality. Men look for a woman to cook. The vast majority of them want a woman who cooks and cleans. You could spend your energy, why are they like that, and campaign against it. Good luck. Or you could say, I don't agree with it, and let me make sure that the man I marry is not going to expect that. That's a lot more realistic. Those men are out there, and then you'll be happy. But to direct your energy against why are men like that, what do they expect, what are they, children, you're wasting your time, and you are carrying tons of baggage, and it's weighing you down. You're the one who is struggling. Yazin. Who else can I be? I'm wearing it. There's a definite overlap, but I try to make it specific. Quranic relationship means just that. How often do they pick up the Quran and read it and think over it? You can have someone who's an activist, who's in the masjid all the time, but rarely picks up the Quran. These are separate categories of actions. Just like growth mindset, are they looking to grow? They're looking to learn about their deen. They're looking to see what they're doing right or wrong, seeing what, are we going to move, where are we going to move when we have kids and make sure that they have Islamic education? They're looking to grow. As a person who's like, no, alhamdulillah, we're Muslims, we're not kafir, we don't kill anybody, and we're good. That's like a no-growth mindset, right? Someone who's stagnant or just not developing, not increasing in their dhikr day-to-day, their salah day-to-day. All the good deeds, they're there, but they don't increase. They don't fluctuate. So someone might say, no, I'm on a journey and I want people to be on the journey with me. Which I said I'll go back to you a while back and I never did. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. So we didn't get to the courting process just yet. That's what that has to do. But since you asked, I'll say it. And I said this before. When you marry a spouse, what are you marrying? As they are. That doesn't mean that that's okay. Doesn't mean you're not going to demand that or request that changes. But you can't demand it overnight. You got to realize that it's a journey. It's a process. It's not a light switch. You married them like this. You're expecting them to get better, or you're going to request that they get better. That's fine. That doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen through commands and demands. That's a journey. If you're not willing to take it together with them as they are and seeing the ups and downs and the climb, if you're not willing to climb with them, leave them. Leave them alone. They need someone who's going to climb with them, not someone who's going to try to tie a rope around them and just shove them up. That's not how it works. That's not how change works. So for both sides, if you're not satisfied with the religious commitment now, don't marry them. Or marry them and buckle up. This is the journey you're taking. You might have to be patient with certain haram that you cannot affect or you cannot convince to change right now. That's you signed on for this. So the fact that you're going to demand it overnight tomorrow, even if you're correct and this is haram and must be done, or halal and fadda must be done, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to force them? No more food till you do this? I'm not going to pay the rent till I do this? That's a dissolution of the marriage. What's going on here? Right? The marriage has dissolved already. That's not how it works. Those are like the extremes. So, there's something else to say, Jasmine? Okay, thank you. So that's part of the courting process. We'll get that. What if I lie and tell him I'm religious, but I'm not? So if for either side you are told something that's not true and you find out afterwards, depending on how consequential it is, the marriage could be nullified. You go to a court or you go to a religious judge and says, okay, this marriage is done. Everybody go back their separate ways, and restitution might have to be made on one side or the other. Someone's saying, like, why do they expect cooking and cleaning? Your own sister doesn't do that. You don't know my sister. What's wrong with you? What if I tell him I cook, but I lie just to get married? Well, so let's just figure out these situations where anybody lied about anything. Yeah. Almost done. I'm trying. So anybody lied about anything, depending on how consequential it is, it's going to be a problem for that person. They're going to make a problem about it. Like, why would you head right into that on purpose? Why isn't women doing all the housework and men are just helping out? That's what they suggested. You're home too. So I agree. If you don't, this is what you have to make clear. Like, you're directing your energy against all of these men that you don't know, that are like 40 of a number, not age. So you're directing like your energy in the wrong place. This is their take, which is a very limited number, but it is representative of the general Muslim male category, or whatever you want to say. So I'm telling you, you just need to make that clear. That's all. You stop being upset about it and just make it clear. I don't cook. I don't clean. The house is a 50-50 endeavor. One day I do dishes, next day you do them. Just make that clear, and someone will agree to it. I'll tell you now, they're not in big numbers that will respond to this kind of rhetoric. But you have also the option of hiring somebody. Say, we will only hire a maid. And then you find someone who agrees to that. That's your task, is finding someone to agree not to change the male race or male gender. Help in your free time when she's only tired? No. Always doing the housework, brother. There you go. Short and fair. Whatever. Me and my divorced guy friends got divorced because we married from outside of the culture. No one warns us about marrying from outside of our culture. Marrying outside of your culture is not. We'll get there. Let me just. Whatever. To the woman who said guys only help when she's tired or he's free, do you help with the bills at all? Because if not, then I'm not helping when I'm free or she's tired. People who spend their times in gender wars are wasting their time and energy. Your enemy is not on the other side of this room. Your enemy looks out of the mirror at you every single day, and you just do this stupid double eyebrows and you think you're the man and you go home, or you go wherever you need to go. In reality, you should be looking at that person, accusing them, wondering what's going through their mind, wondering how you can fix them, absolutely obsessed with no standard lower than perfection for that person. And every single time someone tells you something, you're like, huh, what? About that person, about men, about women? I'm too distracted by that person. I'm so dissatisfied by Muhammad looking at me and what he looks like and how he acts and how his relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and his salah, that I'm so dominated by that everything else shrinks in comparison to it. There's no other greater enemy. There's no other greater target than that. Anything else is a waste of your time, specifically these gender wars. Let me answer this, let me answer back. You're answering anonymous people on a Slido. Like, what's going on here? Like, why are you devoting energy and time to this fashion of discourse? It's not productive. Shahid? There's nothing wrong with agreeing with it. That's true. No, like we already established that's true, that these are not divinely established roles objectively, but it's established culturally. So if I'm going to go against my culture in certain aspects, it just has to be done with tact. It doesn't, just because it's not Islamic doesn't mean it's disbanded. Right? If it's something is not in the Quran and Sunnah, but it's part of our culture, does that mean we have the free right to throw in the garbage whenever we want? Anybody who says yes has never studied Islam. That's not how Islam works. Islam doesn't say culture is to be totally abandoned. That's not an Islamic concept. In fact, it's one of the maxims of fiqh that you learn in the very beginning of usul al-fiqh, which is al-'ada muhkama or muhakkama. 'Ada is culture, custom. Muhakkama means it's given legislative powers. It can make things halal and haram in a limited fashion, not like the Quran and Sunnah at all, but it still has that power. It doesn't have the power to make things halal and haram, but things will become halal and haram based on it. This is an Islamic concept that you take in the very beginning of usul al-fiqh and you spend years studying when and where and how. What about when cultures change? But there's no ruling in Islam that ever says, oh, if it's not Islam, you throw in the garbage. No, we're going to analyze it as such. So part of these things come to play and they must be analyzed. I don't like my culture. Well, like I said, Allah blessed you in your situation where you have some choices. For the vast majority of human history, you didn't. If you didn't like it, that's too bad. Like there's no, and you're wrong. So you're lucky that you're in a situation where there's a lot of flexibility. So it's, yeah, it's okay. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He did. He was very involved in the housework. Yeah. It's true. Understand why divorce rates are 50%. Is this a statement? Is it a question? Is it imperative? Are you telling me to do this? I don't know. All right. These don't seem like serious comments. I don't know. I can't tell, but I'll just... Are divorce rates higher for intercultural marriages? I don't know. If men do not want women to work, will they give a set amount for her everyday needs? Her working... See, right away, this is a paradigm that is based in... A lot of things that are just simply untrue. What does her working have to do with her everyday needs? How are these two things connected? If your answer is she's paying for everyday needs, that's why she's working, that's a fundamental break in what the marriage is supposed to do. That's his job. So he's supposed to provide for her everyday needs regardless of her job or not, of her income or not. So, and that never changes unless they agree on that. So there's a lot of assumptions here. There's a lot of baggage that's weighing you down. Jazakumullah khairan, everyone. That seems like it's everything. We'll wrap up the building the perfect wife, quote unquote, and how to choose a spouse, inshallah, next Thursday. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanaka wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.